Wrestling friends, to another edition of Smarknado. I'm your host, Eric Druckman. With me, as always, that dirty Danaconda, Dan Cessna. Dan, how are you today? You look like you got your, you're
My
too
two
sweet.
sweets up.
You're too sweeten up. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I was in the moment. I was too sweet in it. I'm good, man. I actually had the day off today, and I watched a bunch of wrestling while my wife napped and my kids behaved. So it's a joy for all.
Oh, that's great, man. That's what I love to
And
hear. You just kind of having a reprieve from everything and just settling down and enjoying yourself watching something that we love,
and
because
and
wrestling should make you happy.
yes, for sure. And I mean, I'll announce finally. We find out tomorrow, likely what we're gonna have for our third kid. So I'm announcing that on Smarknado now. Um, the group chat knew about it a little while ago, but just wanted to bring that up just so all know that wrestling is still going to be in my life, whether I have no kids or 300. So let's do it.
Absolutely. And wow, we are probably going to be one of the first wrestling podcasts to have a gender reveal.
Yes,
And
yes,
this
you
is really,
will
really something else.
next week.
I don't think it's going to be as corny as the things we see on TikTok that are just very cringe and make you very upset to be Caucasian. Wouldn't you say,
No,
Dan?
I'm probably just gonna tell you, flat out. Yeah, that's gonna be my reveal.
Yeah, as it should be. We
Yes,
don't
I
need to cut
completely
into
agree
a
with you.
cake. We don't need a fucking, a cannon
I
that's
mean,
in color.
it's my third one at this point. It's kind of old hat. You know what I'm saying? We don't need to have that kind of fun. Well,
Mm-hmm.
not fun party, I should say. But on to better topics.
Yes. Nothing's better than your third kid, man. But we'll talk about wrestling. Uh, yo, you know what I saw today that I really enjoyed? I got
What's
such a
that?
kick out of it.
Tell me.
Um, Eddie Kingston's rehabbing right now.
Yep.
It's not the first time I've seen him wear this, but he was wearing a Latte Larry's shirt.
Okay.
Curb Your Enthusiasm, Larry David.
All right.
And I love the idea that Eddie Kingston just loves Larry David because they have such similar personalities in completely different ways, if that makes any sense.
It would be wonderful to see Eddie Kingston do a guest appearance on Curb.
I know, but Curb is over, so
It is
that's
over. That's true.
never going to happen. But I was thinking today, like, I think above any match that I wish I would have that I could see Eddie Kingston in, I think the true dream match is just a 15-minute conversation between him and Larry David, just to witness that.
They're very New York in different sort of ways.
Yes, but they both have such low tolerance for bullshit.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Larry David's comedic genius. I'm sure everybody knows who he is. I don't need to explain that, but yeah. How far along is he in his rehab anyway? By the way,
I don't think he posted an update or anything like that. For all I know, maybe he just did. I was just fixated on the shirt. But I guess if I recall correctly, the last report that came out was like he was going to be ready in like June.
Ooh, yeah. So long without Eddie Kingston.
I know.
So long.
I know. But, it's almost like, it'd be great if you could just come in and kind of a CM Punk type role in WWE when he was on the shelf and still like do promos and stuff like that.
You would think that they would put some sort of vignettes together or something to keep him in the forefront of people's minds. Not like he isn't to us diehards, but more casual fans might say.
I mean, you would think, but history has shown us that TK, he just cycles through talent so often, and he just doesn't put as much of a focus on certain people as he should be. And it's just kind of like you won't see somebody for 2 weeks because they need to make room for all these other talents that they also have that are great. But it's just kind of like there's not enough room to breathe a lot of times.
I just think it doesn't do them any favors having the sort of unofficial brand split where you don't see a lot of people on Collision. I think that would give a lot of people more time because they have such
Yeah,
a talented deep roster that having 1 2 hour show, it's I don't know, something about the brand split never worked for me in WWE. This like loose brand split that AEW has always had with Collision is just not for me. Like I like Collision okay, but there's not enough star power on it generally.
there's not enough star power on it, and there seems to be just a lot of exhibition matches that don't
Yeah.
have any basis of a storyline or anything like that, and that's a shame because like as much as it's cool to like see those matches sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
um, most of the show should be cohesive with storylines.
Absolutely, absolutely,
Yeah.
and I again to your point, I do very much enjoy the exhibition matches. Sometimes they get out of hand, but it's a good way to give some people some spots. But there's too much genuine A-level talent that isn't getting shine that
Mm-hmm.
could be.
Absolutely. But let's talk about Dynamite, man. It's
Yeah, yeah.
I think for the most part it was a pretty solid show.
They've been putting on solid shows. I'll tell you, right off the rip though, and I think I'm in the majority with this. The Death Riders storyline is kind of over for me. Um
It's just annoying at this point.
it, it's just not doing anything for
They
me. It's the
really,
same
and
thing
I
every week.
meant it last week when I said the more that after I said it, the more I thought about it, and I was just like, wow, I really do feel the same way. They really are like the new version of what's that Bullet Club subgroup, the House of Torture.
Oh
Like
yeah.
they just kind of take the air out of the room.
I don't think it's quite House of Torture level, and I will say to the point, I don't think it's effective enough, but I do think Moxley has been trying to rein his promos in a little bit more and be not quite as rambling. I don't know if you saw this most recent one that he did with Renee.
Yeah, and he was straight and to the point and explained himself well as far
Yeah.
as the question of why they are hiding the title. Like, you don't need to see the championship. I'm everything that embodies a world heavyweight champion. Okay, but it really doesn't justify everything else that has happened that has just kind of led to nowhere.
Oh no, he just needs a legitimate feud, and he hasn't had one.
And I guess the one right now with Copeland has some semblance of like a legitimate feud. I just don't think
Does
they've
it
like
though?
they haven't really gone off to the races yet with it.
It's
I
just
think
not my first
I think it
pick.
certainly could be a big feud.
I love Copeland, I do, but it's just not my first pick for a world title feud. I don't know. And that
It's
being
not
said,
mine either, though. But like, I'm not doubting the abilities of either guy to put on a main event, feud.
yeah, they're legends. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. They very much are
Mm-hmm.
legends, but I don't know. Like you said, there's so much talent that why are we giving, you know, Adam Copeland the shine that he doesn't really necessarily need, right?
I understand that too, but at the same time, if you think about who Moxley has feuded with prior to Copeland being there was a little bit of a lack of true like A-level star power. So I think that's why they have Copeland in there right now.
Yeah.
To really
Yeah.
build that kind of legitimacy, that perception of it being important. Because I love Orange Cassidy. Not the household name that Copeland is, not the household name that
No.
I'd even say Samoa Joe is,
No.
So yeah, I think that's just that's the intention with putting it with Copeland right now.
It's definitely a star power. Yeah. I mean, we'll see how it goes. I liked the Orange Cassidy feud. I think Mox and Orange Cassidy have one of the best feuds in the history of AEW, as long as it's run, to be completely honest with you. So it felt right. But I mean, again, it's a product of the Death Rider storyline being a mess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I mean, me personally,
Yeah,
I would pick putting fucking Kenny Omega back in the title picture immediately. But what do I know?
I would too. I would too, and I just hope that they get it out of their system. This whole storyline with Callis by the next big show, which is I guess is Collision Grand Slam or Dynamite Grand Slam in Australia,
Yep,
right?
that's the 15th of February. That's and then Revolution is like March 3rd, I believe. I'm not sure exactly,
Okay.
but
So and I remember Osprey saying pretty clearly like they're going to go after the Death Riders after this situation with Callis is resolved.
yeah. Well, the match that started off the show was the Will Ospreay Brian Cage match, and you know every single time you put Brian Cage on the screen, and I know this is going to get a big pop from friend of the show, John. He really does shine. Every person you put him in the ring with,
Oh my god!
he just.
Well, I mean he doesn't have a better dancing partner out there, but it's not to dismiss the abilities of Mr. Brian Cage and what he can do. And yeah, I thought that these guys had really, really, really great chemistry with each other. And yeah, I like Cage. I'd like to see him like in the G1 or something. This upcoming year.
Yeah. I'm excited for the G1. It'll be like every other G1 in the history that I watch half of it and then don't finish it. But it should be a good mix of people again this year.
I think a good strategy for the G1 is, you know, if you're excited for it to start, certainly watch the first night. Then kind of, you know,
Yeah.
take the advice of someone who, a wrestling, you know, observer, if you will, that has a good opinion of the good matches and just, you know, follow what they're saying, or any reputable person that you know that
Yeah.
you know is watching the G1 and can tell you what the best
It's
matches
definitely
are.
easy
And
to
you can
pick
just
and
kind of
choose.
go
There's
right
enough
through.
places to find, and you can look through the list. And once you know the blocks, you could sort of pinpoint when you're going to want to watch. But it's still very hard.
Yeah,
So I don't know. It's a lot. There's so much wrestling
it
in the
is.
world. It's crazy. So
But yeah, we saw at the end here. By the way, what do you think of this recent development of Osprey using the Styles Clash as a finisher?
it's crazy to me because it always gets people talking. Where's AJ and why isn't he? Blah blah blah. But like, I don't think it has anything to do with that. I like it. He can get any finisher over.
Yeah.
I think he that one looked a little bit botched to me. I thought Cage might have hurt his arm. To be completely honest with you,
Well, I think Cage didn't get his arm
his leg.
underneath in
Yeah,
time.
and I was nervous while the move was actually happening. I was like, I hope he didn't hurt himself, but because that's an easy one to get yourself fucked up on.
For sure. I think I kind of like it as maybe he did it to Cage because Cage is a bigger guy. It's easier to hit that kind of move on him.
You think so? I feel like that's an easier move to hit on a little guy. Maybe it's not so easy for him to pick him up and get him up for
that's what I'm saying by comparison with the Stormbreaker.
And I mean, but then you have the hidden blade too. So it's like, what does he pick? But that's just the wrestler Osprey is. You never know what he's going to beat you with, but he's going to beat you. So,
yeah. But yeah, the Callis family got the upper hand at the end of the match, as you saw, and Takeshita and Fletcher both did like a double tombstone.
Yes, tombstone and like, I mean, Kenny Omega has diverticulitis. It scares me every time he takes any move.
Yeah,
to be completely honest with you, it's not a fucking fun disease.
No, it isn't.
So I am, always nervous for him, but I love it. I like this feud, I think, a little bit more than you do, but only because I think you want Kenny in the title picture even more than I do. So.
Yeah, but like the tag team match that this is going to yield is going to make it worth it.
No real stakes other than grudge matches, but but they needed a big match for Australia and they got it. So
yep.
All right, next up, what did you make of Hangman storming into Swerve's locker room?
I thought it was very interesting because I later on in the night I thought to myself, oh wait, do they have like a pact with each other? Just because Swerve got involved with Ricochet later in the night, he didn't seem to have like a scratch on him or anything like that. At least, at first I thought that Paige had attacked Swerve and like taken him out because it's just like they're the never ending feud with each other. But again,
Yeah.
because Swerve like reappeared later on in the show and seemed fine,
Well,
makes me think,
he was hiding under the ring the whole time when Paige was looking for him.
oh,
I
he was
mean
hiding under the hood.
that's where I thought he came from when he came out during the Ricochet.
Oh, I
match.
didn't see that. I didn't see that.
I thought so. Maybe I could be mistaken, but that's the way it looked to me when I was watching earlier. But no Swerve in that segment. But Paige did bump into MJF. This is an untapped feud that I'm very excited for once it comes to fruition.
Oh, MJF and Hangman.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good way to get Hangman back into being a babyface.
All right. We won't go into the is Hangman a babyface argument yet, but I think it's a slow burn babyface turn for him, especially after the Christopher.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think that a feud with MJF would make him really see the error of his ways.
Yeah, and anybody by contrast is a babyface and an MJF feud.
Yeah.
So, and next we had the Powerhouse Hobbs not segment, but pre-tape with a warning for Big Bill. I think this is a beefy feud.
I mean, sure, it's a beefy feud, but I hate it.
Why?
I hate it because they had just made Powerhouse Hobbs win that fucking Dynamite Battle Royal or whatever, the Casino Gauntlet, and he just got a title shot and he looked strong in it, and like he has all the reason in the world to go back after the Death Riders and get revenge, and they just pivot to this meaningless feud with Big Bill, and it just it's just they're just stopping his momentum. It feels like, and I hate it. I don't like it at all.
Good promo, but I see your point.
Yeah, I want to see Hobbs succeed, man, and I know how big of a star that he could be for them, but they just don't let it happen.
He's got a lot of time yet left still. He's a young guy, so so hopefully they right the ship there. Yeah. All right, next up we had Jeff Jarrett versus Claudio Castagnoli for Jarrett's world title shot.
I hated this too.
I mean, yeah, it was fucking terrible. Nah, I mean, the idea that he has a title shot is terrible. If he wanted to challenge,
the only thing I liked about this is thank fuck Claudio beat him. Because if Jeff Jarrett was actually going to fucking defeat Claudio, I would have turned off the show. I'm not.
Well, like I said, the only way it was going to happen was by DQ.
Yeah,
and that didn't happen. So, did you actually think in your mind that Claudio was going to lose at any point?
I did. I thought that there was definitely a chance something was going to happen and Jeff was going to win.
I mean,
why are they putting this focus on Jeff Jarrett? I just don't. Nobody's about it. Nobody wants this.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I think I said it last week, maybe the week before.
Let me ask you this too. Them being in these southern states, like the last 3-4 weeks, do you really think Jeff Jarrett has been getting like the responses that they thought he would get? Because I don't think so.
I mean, that's a funny thing that you bring up, and I don't want to veer too far off topic, but I don't think anybody's getting the responses that they want them to get. And I only say this.
Did you see that fan go at it with Wheeler Yuta? He got the response.
No, I must have missed that.
Oh, you missed that? Let me just say that the fan that got involved with Yuta, you could tell they were in Alabama.
Because he had one tooth.
That's where I'll leave it with you.
they you know why the toothbrush was invented in Alabama, right?
Why?
Because if it was invented anywhere else, it'd called the teeth brush. Sorry, Alabama, I love you. Actually, I've never
Oh
been
man.
in you, so I don't care.
Yep.
But what I was saying was, I watched Raw and Dynamite today back to back, and the responses and the crowds, and I'm not a big guy on this, but it does definitely add to it, and the responses just aren't there. And if I were Tony Khan, I would consider piping in some crowd noise. I mean, I
I don't
really
even think
genuinely
so,
would.
man. I just think that they need to go to better markets in
But they
smaller
can't.
arenas
But
with like passionate fans.
they don't have a lot of smaller arenas in all these markets. And I bet you dollars to donuts, a lot of these markets are locked up by WWE in contracts that say they can't have other wrestling shows.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know. And
it's
just to put a
true.
just to put a bow on the comparison of the two, it's like I love both indie film and like Michael Bay shit, right? Like that's all we're looking at here, right? Indie
Mm.
film is still good, but it's just not Michael Bay shit in that way. So I don't know, man. I just had a lot of feelings watching both shows back to back because it's very rare that I ever get to do that, right?
Yeah.
So, um, you know,
The talents
w,
are just much more over in WWE.
they are, and I get a lot of people's points when they say that it's a lot easier to care about them, but indie films and AEW and indie wrestling in general, like
Hmm.
the stories I think sometimes are a lot more layered and they don't spoon feed you everything. You know,
Yeah.
it's just that's all the difference really is.
Plus on in WWE, there's a good like 10 to 15 guys and women that you see on TV every single week. So it's
Yes.
easy to get invested in them.
They also
Whereas in AEW, I would say it's dwindled down to like maybe 5 to 7 men and women that are consistently on TV every week.
I'd say more like 10. But
Yeah.
yeah.
But there's definitely more in WWE that get more consistent TV time.
Yeah, and they've the only reason people get consistent TV time in AEW is because of the factions and whatnot, right? Like
Yeah,
guys like Wheeler Yuta wouldn't be getting consistent TV time if he wasn't in the Death Riders. You
right,
know,
right.
it's so. But you know, it's I digress. We'll get back to the show from last night.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, we had a Ricochet interview right before his match with AR Fox. Says to, you know, Renee that next week or on Collision rather, he's gonna sit down with her and explain his actions. Who knows what that means? But
Mm.
the match itself, Ricochet and AR Fox, all it really made me want to do was go
Hey,
back and
by the
watch.
way, um, uh, the Ricochet promo
Yeah.
at the end of it,
Uh-huh.
and he tried to do the Jadakiss laugh.
Mm-hmm.
Did you think did his voice crack?
I think it might have.
I think it might have too,
Mm-hmm.
and it was pretty embarrassing. Because like I don't think he cut that bad of a promo either, but like that just like was a
I think
fart at the end of the promo.
I
You
think
know?
Ricochet is very much like Mercedes Monet to me in that the content of their promos are never really bad and their passion level is always good. I just hate their voices,
Yeah.
right? Like their actual speaking voices are like nails on a chalkboard to me. So that's why I think that their promos just don't resonate with me as hard
Mhm.
as they would with somebody with a little bit more gravitas.
For sure. Um, let's yeah, this match, man, I loved it.
Yeah.
I think these guys have amazing chemistry with each other. I'm pretty sure I saw them wrestle each other like back in the day, like 10, 15 years ago.
Where at?
They have like it evolve.
Okay. Okay.
Um, yeah, man. I love the fact that like, all right, so clearly Ricochet is a bigger star than AR Fox right now, right?
Yeah, of
Um,
course.
but and AR Fox has a history with both Ricochet and Swerve, which
Yep.
has resulted in these like 10 to 15-minute matches. And I know that like some people will be like, well, AR Fox is lower on the card. They should be beating him a lot quicker. And I'm like, you know what? I think it's pretty cool that somebody who has like a history with someone else you're gonna have a harder time with them because they know you a lot better, even though they're a little bit lower on the totem pole than you. I think that's a pretty effective story that they tell, like with AR Fox interacting with Ricochet and AR Fox interacting with Swerve, and they should do that a bit more.
Commentary did a really great job on explaining the history between Ricochet and AR Fox.
Yeah.
Even though I don't think that they could legally mention Lucha Underground for some reason.
Right.
But they.
Oh yeah, they probably faced each other there, right?
Definitely faced each other there. So, you know, AR Fox is arguably one of the most innovative wrestlers in all of wrestling right now. You know what I mean? Where that little flip that he did where he like flipped Ricochet over his head and then
when he
and
did the iconoclasm into the
yes.
drop kick or something. Yeah,
it was a cutter into a cutter
yeah.
Yeah.
That was sick.
It was just, I was like, holy fuck, man. Like this, and anybody that's complaining about having AR Fox on their TV for longer is just not really that big of a fan of wrestling.
Yeah.
I understand. And it's not like a rando. Like you said, they explained it. They have chemistry. Mm-hmm. Like, who complains about that? But
yeah.
Anyway. Next we had a Ring of Honor, or I'm not even going to call him that. Chris Jericho and a New York Minute. I'm going to skip that because it's just
him and Brian Keith are going to start teaming with each other. It seems.
Yeah, I don't like that for Brian Keith.
No.
So, and next up we had Switchblade versus Wheeler Yuta. Love Wheeler Yuta or hate him, he's a really good wrestler still.
Yeah, and he got a lot of heat too during the match.
He's a very good shit heel, and the hair getting floppier makes it even worse.
The hair has actually evolved, man. I think the emo works for him.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, but this just ended in another clusterfuck that, I don't really want. Right? I'm just kind of tired of the Death Rider schmoz. Right?
Yeah, and then FTR and Death Riders are going to be in a Mid-South street fight on Collision. Who in the Death Riders, though?
They announced it on the show. It's Moxley and Yuta.
Moxley and Yuta?
Yeah.
All right.
Which I was surprised at, but I mean, everybody's going to get involved.
I hope FTR gets the win. That'd be cool. I wouldn't mind like a mini feud of like Moxley versus Dax.
Dax there's been times where he hasn't been my favorite, but the promo he cut last night I really enjoyed. Straight to the point. When he gets straight to the point and stops rambling about how much he loves professional wrestling, he cuts a really good promo.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Next up, we had the interview with Mariah May. Another one that was pretty.
This might have been one. This is one of my favorite moments of the show. I thought she cut an absolutely spectacular promo on Toni Storm.
It started slow for me, but it heated up at the end.
You know what? I think that the city of Huntsville should take her up on her suggestion.
Of Huntsville, yeah.
They should change the H to a C.
Yeah, Huntsville sounds like a place I would totally live.
Yeah. Yeah.
What did you think of the vignette that they aired after this for the Guns?
Kind of corny.
Kind of corny, but if they're bringing them back with Jay White, and Jay White's kind of a baby face, I see why they're doing it. They want to get, a little baby face heat for them, so I understand it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Next up, we had a Vendetta promo. Deanna and Taya cutting a promo on Harley Cameron. And they said they're coming to collect this Saturday on Collision. Don't know what that means, if there's going to be a match or not.
this upset me.
Why's that?
This upset me because it was a mere just mention of Harley Cameron and not an actual Harley Cameron appearance.
Yeah, pretty weak. Not knowing that should be one of your top. Like, wasn't she in like 3 segments last week?
Yes,
That's
and she crushed it every time.
She does crush it every time.
Yeah, yeah. Can't help but like her.
We'll see on Collision because she's definitely a star. All right, next up we have the main event: Mercedes Moné versus Yuka Sakazaki. I think you told me you didn't see this match.
I didn't see it. No.
That's unfortunate because Yuka Sakazaki is a really fun wrestler.
We have access. We have HBO.
Yeah.
The Max app, so I can just go to it and watch it.
Absolutely, and I think you should. Mercedes with Joshi wrestlers is just, I don't want to say magic because that seems cliche, but she does a really good job in that environment. I think she thrives and really enjoys it. So, yeah, this was a good match, and I think you should go back and watch it.
I should, and I will.
All right, and that is that for Dynamite. What did you think overall of the show?
I thought it was pretty solid. You know, the low spots in it were things that definitely annoyed me. But overall, I didn't have that much of a problem with the show.
No, good show. I thought it was a solid B-.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
All right.
I'll concede on a B-. All right, so let's just talk a little bit about the goings on right now in Raw. I guess we could sprinkle in some SmackDown too, of you know, things that are going on. Anything comes to mind? Yeah, since I mentioned SmackDown, and since this is a guy that's just been gaining a lot of steam, Jacob Fatu, man. You think that he's gonna take over very soon as like one of the biggest stars in WWE?
I'll tell you this much.
It's happening very quickly, it feels like.
He's a better wrestler than anybody in the bloodline.
Yeah.
I don't want to say he's on Roman's level as far as promos are concerned, but he's definitely a better promo than anybody in the bloodline except for Roman. Or
when you say the bloodline, do you include Sami Zayn?
Yes.
Really? You think Jacob Fatu is better than Sami Zayn?
No. Nope. Nope. But
it doesn't really matter, man. I mean, the guy is star power.
He has a different kind of promo ability that actually feels more real. While I love Sammy and his passion and his intensity, some of it still feels scripted. Whereas Fatu to me just actually feels like everything he says
absolutely.
is real.
Dude, these walking promos that he does before matches are fucking badass. I love that the style that they do. It just works with him. How soon is it, do you think, that a lot of wrestling fans who probably shouldn't be, you know, using this in their everyday jargon, but how many wrestling fans do you think are going to start saying "yada mean"?
Probably more than should.
Yes, I was thinking that too. He's so authentic, man. I love this guy. And when his athleticism is just second to none. He just beat the ever living fuck out of Braun Strowman on Saturday night.
And I think I was right in that it was a less than 10-minute match.
Yeah, you were right. You were right.
I was very surprised that I was right. I got one. If only I could hit a parlay or two.
Yes. I know, man. We'll see. We'll see at the Super Bowl. By the way, congratulations, Dan, to your
Go Birds!
Philadelphia Eagles.
Go Birds!
It to the Super Bowl.
Thank you.
Just in regards to that, I am going to put my Philadelphia Eagles hate on the shelf for the game.
Yes.
And I am going to compartmentalize my brain singularly focus on the success of Mr. Saquon Barkley, because even though he's not on my team anymore, him leaving was no fault of his. It was entirely the incompetence of the organization that I am a fan
Absolutely. Yeah.
of. I mean, I got to admit that. So
Yeah.
I want to see him succeed, and I want to see him get a ring. And otherwise,
I
fuck the Eagles. But yeah,
here's what I'm gonna say, and we can cut the football talk. I think he breaks the single season plus playoffs record.
I
I
could see
think
that.
I think he goes for 150. I think he's the MVP of the game, and I think the Eagles win. I'm saying it on record.
I'm definitely doing a Saquon like 120 plus prop.
As you should, because that boy bad.
Dude, and he just pops off at the most random times in the game when they're already up by like 3 scores.
Or
he
like
just,
the very first play of the game.
Yeah, he just busts out like a 65-yard touchdown. Unbelievable.
Oh man, crazy to me. But
crazy. Yeah, you might say that Saquon is the Jacob Fatu of the NFL right now. The amazing athletic things that he can do.
And he can cut a promo too.
Yeah, he absolutely can. Yeah, man. And then just some things that happened on Raw. Pretty visceral reaction from the fans for Logan Paul, and I really love that. I love that we're all united in saying fuck this dude. Yes. I love that it united Seth Rollins and Gunther when Logan Paul came out, and they're just like, oh, you're a piece of shit. We're fine.
Like, it's not even like he's playing a character. He's just himself, and everybody hates him.
Yes.
He's just garbage. He's a garbage person. And I don't care if he's a good wrestler anymore. I don't want to see him.
I don't either. I don't
care.
Want him around.
And the product doesn't.
You know what he is to me, man? Logan Paul is the wrestling avatar of the billionaire class right now in America. He just represents everything that is, and I fucking despise him, and everyone else should fucking despise him.
Yeah, he's capitalist scum.
Yeah,
that's all
absolutely.
He is. That preys on the most
to take him down,
and he preys on the most feeble-minded, and that's the young, and that's the problem.
Yeah, and the kids will like. What happened? Like he like didn't he do something where like he gave some kid his gum, and the kid was super excited, like his chewed gum.
I don't know, but that makes me nauseous, to be completely honest with you. It pisses me off every time MJF throws his gum into the crowd. I'm like, bro, COVID exists. Stop it.
I know.
But anyway.
But fuck that guy. I think it's worth mentioning how awesome the War Raiders and Dom and JD was. The match that they had. All the credit in the world. As most people know, JD McDonough hit the back of his head very hard on the announce table, and then insisted on continuing the match and doing all the spots and everything.
He wrestled the rest of that match with a punctured lung and a broken rib.
He had a punctured lung? I didn't realize that happened.
I knew he had a broken rib.
Wow.
Yeah. He wrestled the remainder of that match that way. And, you know, JD McDonough has been mentioned in speaking out in the past, and I won't, get too deep into that. So he's not generally a good person, but boy, let's say that's tough.
It is. And credit to Michael Cole and Pat McAfee for putting their jokes aside about McDonough and really giving him props for his toughness.
They definitely hit him with a few jokes, but
they hit him with a few jokes, but they were like, in all seriousness, this guy is legit.
Yeah. It was, what's crazy to me, and this is another thing, you mentioned Pat McAfee, so I'm gonna say it, but like, I'm not generally a Pat McAfee fan when it comes to sports or life. But as a wrestling announcer, he's grown on me.
He brings
He's
a
one
lot
of
of
my
energy
favorites.
to the show.
He's one of my favorites. I won't say of all time. That's a stretch, but like of
Yeah.
current times, he brings a different energy and a different vibe to the show that's hard to recreate for a lot of wrestling announcers.
Yeah. And he does that so well, and whether Corey Graves likes it or not, they need him.
Yeah. I think he adds to. He's one of the bright spots on Raw every week.
Yeah, for sure. Speaking of another bright spot on Raw, it was a continuation of the New Day's feud with the fans, feud with the world. This heel turn that they have right now. So Woods faced Mysterio, and then you saw that Woods' family wasn't showing up, and then Lil Yachty brought out
Yeah.
Xavier Woods' family, and they were all wearing New Day Sucks t-shirts.
That's the most random like tie-in, Little Yachty of all people. But hey, what do I know?
All right. Well, they were in Atlanta. You know, Atlanta is a fucking hot spot for a lot of big rappers. So
yeah, but they had Killer Mike in the crowd. They had Killer Mike in the crowd.
They had Killer Mike there. Killer Mike probably wanted to hang out with his family, man. I don't know. He's older than these dudes that were involved. You know, Quavo, I don't know who he is, but obviously he's an Atlanta rapper. But yeah,
it's
this
Quavo,
was just
and he's part of Migos.
Yeah, you know, I think that I'm fine with it. The continuation of this New Day turn, and their families don't even see them the same way and stuff. And I just kind of want to see it.
Roster.
What?
I said even the other heels on the roster don't see him that way. They walked up to Pete Dunne and Ludwig, and they were like, "Nope." And
yeah, they didn't want anything to do with them. I want to see this heat up a little bit. I want to see them do something really dastardly soon. Like, I want to see them really be like, I don't know, attack Rey Mysterio backstage and just viciously take him out. Like, I just feel like they've been treading water a little bit in recent weeks, and it hasn't been without it being entertaining. But I just want to see it. I want to see them go off to the races with this, and I want to see them just.
They're still relying on the initial heat.
Yeah.
They're still sitting on that initial heat, which is massive, mega heat, but still it's they got to do something else. I'm with you.
Yeah, I want to see them do something like fucked up. Yeah. You know, and not that what they did to Big E wasn't, but they need to do something like that again.
Physically fucked up.
Physically
fucked up.
Absolutely.
Not something emotionally fucked up.
Jey Uso declared for the Rumble with Quavo. Okay, cool.
It's Quavo.
That's for the kids.
I like Quavo. I'm a hip hop guy, so I actually like Migos, but I understand why you don't know who he is.
I've heard of Migos before. What did they sing? Did they sing Trap Queen?
Nope.
What did they sing?
You probably are familiar with them because a handful of years back in Albany, there was a massive stabbing at one of their concerts.
Okay, but what song do they sing?
Bad and Bougie.
Oh, Bad Bougie. Okay.
Yeah. That's probably the one you know the best.
Mm-hmm.
But they've done a lot.
All right. So other things that happened was that Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez got the win over the tag team champions. So it's assumed that they're probably going to get a title shot very soon.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I guess that's something for them to do. I think that if we're talking about angles that have run their course, I think Judgment Day is kind of at the point where I'm like, I don't think they need to exist anymore.
I mean, I think it should just, I think that like Finn and McDonough should still be like allies of each other.
Yeah.
And I think that like Dom, Liv, and Raquel should kind of be their own thing.
Yep.
And then Carlito can just fuck off and do something else. I don't know.
I mean, yeah. It's not something that's for me anymore. I think it's once you lose Damian Priest, you lose Rhea Ripley. Like, I don't know. None of the original members are in it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So
Oh,
I guess it's officially Bullet Club.
yeah. Yep. All right. Yeah. Roman Reigns is going to be the cover of 2K25. Oh wow, cool. Whatever. And then
I won't
Drew
buy it.
McIntyre came out, interrupted Paul Heyman, and then Drew versus Sammy happened, and this was the main event, and they had a great match with each other. Obviously, Drew won, and they're continuing this storyline of Sami Zayn accidentally haluva kicking people, and you know, they're constantly putting into question, oh, was it really an accident? And I don't know. I just kind of hate these fucking storylines because, like, if you watch the video every single time, it's always an accident. And then the wrestler who got hit is still like, you sure about that? You know, like we've seen this many times before.
It's
This kind
lazy
of
story
storyline.
writing.
It's just
lazy.
it's weird.
It's lazy storytelling.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
It's like, are these characters that fucking stupid?
Yes.
It makes them sound so stupid.
Bunch of meatheads.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, yes, Cody Rhodes and CM Punk had a face-off too after this show, and I can't help but think that I think I know who's going to win the Royal Rumble, but let's preview it anyway. All right,
save it.
Save
it for your predictions.
Yeah. All right. Yes.
All right.
So, first of all, before we get into the Royal Rumble, today was a very historic day. Or yesterday was a very historic day. Unexpectedly, Paul Levesque got a phone call from WWE COO Paul Levesque to announce that Paul Levesque is going to be inducted into the 2025 WWE Hall of Fame. And Paul Levesque graciously thanked Paul Levesque for everything that Paul Levesque has done for Paul Levesque at this point. And,
by the way, I heard Paul Levesque is into inducting him.
Yes.
Okay.
He's and who better to induct Paul Levesque than Paul Levesque, right?
Nobody.
No.
The fucking arrogance of this guy knows no bounds. It absolutely knows no bounds. I'll be shocked if there's not pyro for him when he gets.
Oh my god. I don't care, man. Whatever. You knew he was going to get inducted at some point, right? His in-ring career is over. I mean,
I don't care, man. It's still self-aggrandizing.
Has it been like it might even, you say it's self-aggrandizing, but I think he had his last match like 5 years ago, so it's almost lined up with like Hall of Fame eligibility in real sports. Like he's 5 years removed from playing the sport and he gets inducted in. When you break it down like that, it's kind of fair.
I guess, but the optics are not that. You know what I mean?
I don't know.
It looks like he got into power and said, "Let's praise me." That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I want to see
another big thing coming out of this press conference that happened, where Triple H was announced as being in the Hall of Fame, is the official signing of Jordynne Grace to WWE. And
that's very cool.
This is dope. I expect to see her in the Rumble, don't you?
I do. I expected to see her in the Rumble even before hearing that she signed.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think you're going to see a bunch of TNA talent in the Rumble.
I don't know about you, but like, I think since she kind of already had her cup of tea in NXT, I think she should bypass NXT and just go right to the main roster. I think she's ready.
I completely agree with you. I think that a Jordynne Grace, Charlotte Flair feud is what everybody wants eventually.
My God, man. I've heard a rumor that Charlotte may actually have a faction with the Meta Girls, Jakara Jackson and Lash Legend.
Okay. I actually like that. I think both of those girls have been absolutely incredible as far as their,
Dude, Lash
their
Legend was when she first started wrestling, she was pretty fucking bad. Um, but like how they've developed her over the last like 4 years and who she is right now, I'm genuinely impressed with her
I am
progress.
her progress has been very, very good.
Yeah, yeah.
So I can see it.
Mm-hmm.
And she can play a heater too. So
Definitely, definitely. So we'll see how that all plays out. We know that Charlotte Flair is going to be in the Royal Rumble. Dan, I'm going to put you on the spot right now, right before we
okay.
get to our Rumble predictions.
Okay.
First men's Royal Rumble winner, who was it?
Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Very good, very good. First women's Royal Rumble winner.
Asuka.
My man. I was going to
Yeah.
roast you so hard if you couldn't think of Asuka.
I absolutely. It's funny because I was actually just Asuka was going through some shit on Twitter the other day, and I saw that, and it reminded me that she won the Royal Rumble for the first one. So
I actually heard, like, obviously somebody was trying to get involved in her personal life and stuff, but
yeah.
I heard that she like lives a very quiet life and actually has a husband and a kid, but just doesn't like talk about it.
Yeah, she's a very private person, and
Yep.
I feel like somebody probably tried to invade her privacy, which is not fucking okay.
No.
Just because the performers and are there to perform, they're not there to be part of your personal life. And if for some reason you are lucky enough to have that happen, don't but don't go looking for it. That's not cool.
Absolutely. All right, so this pretty small match card right now. I wouldn't be surprised if the women's tag team championships get added to this card, considering what happened on Raw.
It needs something. It needs one more match.
Yeah. But as of right now, we have DIY defending the WWE Tag Team Championships against the Motor City Machine Guns in a 2 out of 3 falls match. Damn, bro, this could be a show stealer right here, especially because it's one of the 4 matches that they're having. Like, come on, this is going to get some time.
It's absolutely going to be the best match of the night. Like, I don't think that there's any questions about that, because while the Royal Rumble match is going to be really fun.
Dude, Cody and Kevin Owens, you don't think that there's a chance that could steal the show in a ladder match? That's gonna be pretty fucking good, man.
It's gonna be good. The ladder match stipulation has me thinking it'll be better than the last one, but I don't know, man. A 2 out of 3 falls with 2 of the best tag teams of the last 20 years.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt it's going to be a tremendous match, but I don't know. I feel like it's not like there isn't any doubt it's going to be the best match. It'll probably just when you have that ladder match that's there too.
They'll be 1 and 1A, man. It's going to be a really good show, top to bottom. It's all killer, no filler. Like, that's all that this show is, and that's definitely. I'm excited for it.
I definitely want the Guns to win, and I think the Guns will win.
I'm a DIY guy, and I know you're a Motor City Machine Guns guy, so I'll just be contrary for the sake of being contrary and say that I think that DIY wins, retains.
Okay. I wouldn't really care either way, to be honest. I like both these teams a lot. Yeah. All right. Let's do Kevin Owens versus Cody Rhodes ladder match for the undisputed WWE Championship. So cool about this is that the Winged Eagle and WWE Championship belts are going to be suspended above the ring. It's going to be really cool. It's going to bring back a lot of feels. Last time we saw 2 belts like that, WrestleMania 10 of Shawn Michaels versus Razor Ramon. And you know what? When I see that these guys are going to be facing each other in a ladder match, these are 2 men that have such reverence for wrestling history. And I can see them like reenacting certain spots that like Razor and Shawn have done with each other.
That's because Shawn Michaels is involved in booking now. Of course, that's going to happen.
Yeah,
he loves putting his spots into matches.
I
Gloves.
don't mind it. I don't mind it. They're good spots. So I think that this is going to be awesome. I don't really see. I would be in full support of Kevin Owens winning this match. I truly do. And if I kind of hope Kevin Owens wins, but I don't really see Cody not winning.
Kevin Owens is a heel like Hangman is a heel. He's almost always right.
Yeah.
And I want to see him win. I desperately do, but I just don't see it happening.
Mm-hmm.
Cody wins.
Yeah. Yep. All right. So, women's Royal Rumble match. Let's go with who has been announced so far. On the Raw side of things, we have Bayley, Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, Lyra, Ivy Nile, and Io Sky. On the SmackDown side, we have Nia Jax, Charlotte Flair, Naomi, and Bianca Belair. Man, this is a hard one in terms of who I think is going to win this.
I'll say it's definitely going to be one of them. That's just, I don't see anybody else outside of that group that would potentially win.
I think Bianca wins. I think there's a good chance that Bianca wins, and I think that she challenges Rhea because like Rhea versus Bianca is such a hot ticket WrestleMania main event.
So it's funny that you say that because I'm literally on my other screen right now looking to see, because for some reason I couldn't think of whether or not Bianca won one before.
I think she did.
I don't think she did. And that makes me think that it's going to be Charlotte Flair.
Charlotte? Yeah. She's definitely won one before.
She definitely has, but you know what? That was the Vince era. So I'm going to retract my previous statement. And I'm going to say that the winner is going to be, damn. Yeah, I mean, it's either Charlotte or Bianca.
Yeah.
I just don't see anybody else.
Let's talk about this too. Women's Royal Rumble match. Any potential surprises? I know we've mentioned Jordynne Grace.
I don't know about any surprises. I think you're going to see a lot of TNA and NXT talent, more than you'd expect.
I think we're going to see Masha Slamovich.
Probably because she was at NXT.
Mm-hmm. And I think that we are going to get an appearance from Sol Ruca, because I think that Sol Ruca is somebody that is capable of having a Kofi Kingston-like spot in the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, absolutely.
And she's got a really flashy finisher that a lot of people love. And I think it just makes perfect sense to put her in there.
Yeah, and she hasn't been around on NXT, has she? I don't watch often, so I don't know.
Yeah, she's still on the show, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because she was hot for a while, and then I feel like she fizzled off a little bit.
For sure.
All right.
All right, so on the men's Royal Rumble, announced so far is John Cena, of course, CM Punk, Jey Uso, Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, Rey Mysterio, Sami Zayn, Logan Paul, Penta, Chad Gable, Braun Breaker, SmackDown side, Carmelo Hayes, Nakamura, Roman Reigns, and LA Knight. Oh, I regretfully say that who I think is going to win the Royal Rumble is CM Punk. And I say that because I think that the way that Raw ended this past week, it shows that I think that CM Punk and Cody are going to have a program with each other. I think CM Punk eventually turns heel, whatever favor that Paul Heyman was going to help him with. I don't know. Like I think that something's going to happen there. I don't want CM Punk to win. My dark horse pick to win the Royal Rumble is Drew McIntyre. He just fucks it up and plays spoiler for everybody.
Which way do you see him going, though?
Possibly like challenging Cody.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see that. I don't know why. I just don't. I hate to agree with you so often, but I'm with you. I think CM Punk wins this and finally gets his WrestleMania main event. I do. Even though I think that they were planting seeds for a Roman versus CM Punk Mania match, I still think that CM Punk wins this and goes on to face Cody at Mania as a heel.
Yes, I think so too.
But I want Penta.
Of course. But like, I'm open to CM Punk as a heel.
I am too.
I think it can be good TV.
I mean, as long as he's not causing havoc backstage, I like CM Punk fine, right? Like, I hate to admit it because he's a petty little bitch. I do genuinely think that. But yeah, he's gonna win.
All right, let's talk some Royal Rumble surprises for the men's match. Who do you got, Dan? Anybody?
I hadn't really thought about it yet, to be honest with you. Because I thought Penta was going to make his debut there.
Sure.
I don't really know who else they've signed recently.
I think they're going to have. I think in terms of a return, AJ Styles is going to come back for the match.
I hope they put him at 3 like they did last time and have Roman come out at 2.
Yeah.
And a call back to when he first fucking showed up and Roman was like,
yeah.
Who, what? And then I that would be pretty cool.
Me and John were talking about that recently, that moment. And that was like when we first started watching wrestling with you. And I knew that you were just looking at us like, what the fuck is wrong with these guys?
I knew who AJ Styles was, though. Like, I wasn't completely out of the loop. I just didn't have the same guttural reaction that y'all did. That's all.
My voice went up a few octaves when it happened.
You definitely pulled a ricochet and had your voice crack.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Great times. That was like fucking 9 years ago. Can you believe that shit?
God, we've been doing this a long fucking time, bro.
I know.
And it never gets old. It never gets old to talk wrestling with you guys.
Yeah. I got a far reach. Ooh. And then I have like a close reach or like someone who I think is more likely going to show up as a surprise.
Okay.
The Rumble. The reach is definitely Aleister Black. I don't know if that's going to happen this soon. And I think maybe they would have a little bit more of a intentional debut for him than it just being in the Rumble.
I mean, if the whole stadium goes black, that place is going to lose their fucking minds.
Yeah.
Like, they're going to lose their minds. And
dude, I'm sure you agree. They have to bring the Incendiary song back when Aleister Black is back.
Yes, his original theme, yes.
Yes, it needs to be there.
But they won't.
That song fucks so hard.
It is one of the best theme songs.
Yeah. No man is ever truly good. Yep. No man is ever truly evil. Oh, man. I'm getting excited. Just think about it. I think another really good possibility of who could be a surprise in the Rumble is Rusev.
I don't know what his contract status is.
I think he's out of AEW.
Do you?
I think so.
I don't know.
I don't know that for sure.
I truly don't know. That is a stretch, but I wouldn't be surprised. It wouldn't Joe Hendry. It does happen. I mean, yeah, I think that's pretty obvious is going to happen. But yeah, I don't know. I'm excited. This is my favorite pay-per-view of the year, as everybody that listens to this show knows, and I'm super excited to be watching it for the last time ever.
Last time ever?
Yeah, they're doing it in Saudi Arabia next year.
Doesn't mean they're going to do it for like
every
year after.
They might. So I'm just hedging my bets.
I hate that they're doing it in Saudi, man. That just like jeopardizes so many like surprises and shit like that. Yep. Just kills the element of a lot of different things with the Rumble.
Yeah, it's going to suck balls.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to watch it.
And all the women are going to be wearing spacesuits.
Oh, boy. All right, I'm tired. Let's wrap this.
Yes, I am tired too. So we will talk about this another time. This professional wrestling.
Oh, I thought you had something that we skipped over, but yeah, we'll be back.
Oh yeah. I'm sorry. I'm just a little the edible's kicking in a bit.
Oh,
but as always, guys, follow us on Instagram at Smarknado, on Twitter at Smarknado1. leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, and go check out our link tree. A lot of stuff there.
Right there.
Okay.
Up there. Look at it.
It's right there. Look at it. Dan, you have anything left to say?
Fly, Eagles, fly. And stay fresh, cheese bags.
Keep watching wrestling.